U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has argued that the clock has paused on a deadline for the Trump administration to seek approval from Congress for the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. Hegseth was responding to questions from members of the Senate, or upper chamber, on Thursday.
And from almost any other country, the answer would have been a firm no. But when the United Arab Emirates came under a relentless Iranian attack during the US-Israeli war on Tehran, Israel agreed to deploy one of its most sensitive military systems. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu secretly ordered the Israeli military to send an Iron Dome interceptor battery and soldiers to operate it to the UAE after a call with President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and a move that demonstrates just how far ties have come.
The head of a Greek Orthodox church in Jerusalem has condemned a brutal attack on a nun in the city earlier in the week and warned of growing concerns over the future for Christians living in the Holy Land. Archbishop Attala Hanna said on Facebook that the attack on a nun escalating violations against Christian institutions in the city.
Another major increase in petroleum prices, including petrol and diesel, has been challenged in the Federal Constitutional Court. The petition names the government of Pakistan and the Secretary of the Establishment Division as respondents. Researchers have developed a solar-powered approach that can convert plastic waste into fuel similar to petrol and other chemicals. This is a completely new way to curb plastic pollution by converting it into clean energy. The study was led by University of Adelaide PhD researcher Xiao Lu. The team followed a process that uses sunlight to transform discarded plastics into hydrogen, syngas and other valuable chemical products.
The Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, PTA, has directed internet service providers, ISPs, to improve their services after detecting slow internet across 31 major cities, including Azad Jammu and Kashmir, AJK, and Gilgit-Baltistan, GB. PTA made these remarks in its Quality of Service QoS assessment of fixed-line broadband networks for Q1 2026. Italy has raised the financial proof requirement for international students applying for a study visa for university enrollment to $10,179.85 per year, according to the latest official procedures published on the Universitali portal. The updated requirement applies to international students seeking a study visa for university enrollment, also known as a National Type D visa, for higher education courses in Italy. Pakistan recorded a second consecutive month of improving security indicators in April 2026, with militant attacks and related casualties declining markedly, according to a report released by the Pakistan Institute for Conflict and Security, PCSS. The Islamabad-based think tank documented 85 verified militant attacks in April, down from 146 in March, a 42% decrease. As per the data, fatalities resulting from militant attacks fell from 106 in March to 60 in April, continuing a downward trend that began the previous month, when overall combat-related deaths dropped by 35%.
Islamabad, a private citizen has approached the Federal Constitution Court, FCC, seeking relief against the recent increase in petrol and diesel prices. It emerged on Friday. The government on Thursday raised petrol and diesel prices while simultaneously extending fuel subsidies for motorcyclists and the transport sector, seeking to cushion the impact of rising global oil costs on vulnerable consumers.
More than 160 activists on board aid ships forming a flotilla bound for Gaza have been taken to the Greek island of Crete after Israeli forces seized their vessels in international waters near Greece earlier this week. Freedom Flotilla organizers have said the organizers told the Reuters news agency on Friday that 168 members of the flotilla crew had been taken to Crete, while 2 activists remained with Israeli authorities.
And after being harried by complaints that its search function needed improving, Reddit has in the last few years invested in its search engine and has even added AI features to help its users find what they're looking for. And it appears that investment is finally paying off. The company has seen a 30% year-on-year jump in the number of people using search every week, CEO Steve Huffman said on Thursday. And Huffman noted that search has been one of the major drivers of user acquisition and retention for the platform.
The Punjab government has launched the Rahmat Card programme to provide financial assistance to widows and orphan families across the province. Under the programme, 50,000 deserving families will receive support. Widows will get Rs 1 lakh, while orphan families will also receive 1 lakh per family. Free public transport in Punjab will remain operational for another month. However, the final decision will be taken by Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz. According to official sources, Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz has called a meeting in this regard on Monday for the final decision.
The Pakistan Meteorological Department has predicted dust storms, thunderstorms and rain in the upper and central parts of the country from the night of May 2 to May 4. According to the Met Office, a fresh westerly wave is likely to enter the northwestern parts of Pakistan on the evening of May 2. The system is expected to affect the upper parts of the country until the morning of May 5. Rain could affect the PSL 11 final at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore on Sunday, May 3, as the Pakistan Meteorological Department has predicted rain, dust storms and thunderstorms in parts of Punjab and rest of the country from May 2 to May 4. Peshawar Zalmi have already qualified for the final. They will face the winner of tonight's match between Islamabad United and Hyderabad Kingsmen.
And Islamabad. Power Minister Awais Leghari on Friday declared the end of a month-long load-shedding period after a shipment of liquefied natural gas, LNG, arrived in Pakistan a day earlier. The Power Minister made the announcement in a recorded televised message, saying that the recent power outages were caused by a gas shortage linked to the war between the US and Iran and were not the result of incompetence or system failure.
Islamabad. The Federal Constitutional Court, FCC, has ruled that the customary practice of nominating or recognising a chieftain Sardar by members of a tribe does not vest such an individual with the legal authority to attest local certificates, domicile certificates, or computerised national identity card, CNC applications. The observations came while rejecting a petition filed by a self-proclaimed tribal chieftain seeking his recognition as the Sardar of the Karoti tribe. Lindsay Foreman says she is keeping sane by reading, doing laps of the prison yard, and when she can, practicing yoga. Exercise, she says, has always been her salvation. But after 16 months in jail in Iran, Lindsay admits she is struggling.
Brazil's Congress has overturned a veto of a bill that would dramatically reduce former President Jair Bolsonaro's prison sentence for plotting a coup after he lost the last election. Last year, Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years in jail for his attempt to cling to power after losing the 2022 elections to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
The interruption to supplies of fertiliser and its key ingredients due to the war in Iran could cost up to 10 billion meals a week globally and will hit poorest countries hardest, according to the boss of one of the world's biggest fertiliser producers. Svein Tore Holster, chief executive of Yara, told the BBC that hostilities in the Gulf, which have blocked shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, are jeopardising global food production. Athens, Greece, when the Conservative New Democracy Party came to power in Greece in 2019, it promised a work-driven economy that would grow by 4% a year and elevate living standards after a decade of austerity. In an appeal to the productive non-state economy, Kyriakos Mitsotakis became Prime Minister, asking Greeks to work together to build a new compact of trust based on meritocracy, industriousness, security, justice, opportunities for everyone.
Oil prices are spiking again as efforts to resolve the Iran war remain at an impasse, with Tehran continuing to block the Strait of Hormuz and the United States Navy blockading Iranian ports and exports of Iranian crude. On Friday, Brent crude, the international benchmark, was up 89 cents at 111.29 a barrel by 08 GMT, compared with about $65 before the US, and Israel began strikes on Iran on February 28. Overall, the Brent benchmark was poised for a 7% gain over the week, the Reuters news agency reported. President Javier Milei has recently sharpened his rhetoric on Argentina's claim to the British-controlled Falkland Islands at a time when his close relationship with United States President Donald Trump and the latter's mounting tensions with the United Kingdom have drawn attention to the future of the contested territory. Trump and Milei have met several times. The Argentinian leader is a regular feature at conservative pro-Trump political gatherings in the US. Trump has previously described Milei, a far-right populist leader of the Liberty Advances Party, as his favorite president.
And hundreds of protesters have clashed with emergency workers in a remote Australian town after police arrested a man suspected of murdering a 5-year-old Indigenous girl. Police say about 400 people gathered at Alice Springs Hospital in the Northern Territory, where the suspect was taken on Friday after locals beat him until he was unconscious. And the Donald Trump administration has argued that a key May 1 deadline it faces to secure congressional approval for the US-Israel war on Iran no longer matters because of the ongoing ceasefire with Tehran. Once the president notifies the United States Congress about a war, he has a 60-day deadline under the War Powers Resolution to get lawmakers to greenlight the campaign or withdraw forces involved in hostilities.
The City Traffic Police Lahore have finalised comprehensive traffic management arrangements for the Pakistan Super League PSL Season 11 match between Islamabad United and Hyderabad Kings, scheduled to be played on Friday at Gaddafi Stadium. Chief Traffic Officer, CTO Lahore Syed Abdul Rahim Shirazi said around 600 traffic wardens will perform duty to ensure smooth flow of traffic and facilitate cricket fans.
And Punjab Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz Sharif on Friday digitally inaugurated Pakistan's first Rahmat card programme, under which financial assistance will be provided to 50,000 widows and orphan children across the province, according to a detailed briefing by advisor to CM Punjab on Zakat and Ushra, Rashid Nasrullah. A record amount of $5 billion has been allocated from the provincial Zakat fund for the initiative.
This festival season is proving to be a particularly eventful one for Pakistani filmmakers, and another player has entered the arena at the Busan International Short Film Festival in South Korea. Saman Kamran premiered her experimental short film The Bed She Made at BIS-F on April 24 as part of a showcase of 5 films by Asian directors dealing with corrosive forces often embedded within social structures. It is the only Pakistani film to play at the festival this year. It follows Ali Sohail Jarua's Murder Tong, screened at the festival in 2022. Islamabad. Power Minister Awais Leghari on Friday declared the end of a month-long load-shedding period after a shipment of liquefied natural gas, LNG, arrived in Pakistan a day earlier. The Power Minister made the announcement in a recorded televised message, saying that the recent power outages were caused by a gas shortage linked to the war between the US and Iran, and were not the result of incompetence or system failure.
and. The US has imposed sweeping sanctions on former Democratic Republic of Congo President Joseph Kabila, accusing him of backing the M23 rebel group. Washington alleges he provided financial support, encouraged defections from the Congolese army, and even sought to launch attacks on the military from outside the country.